We're living for the moment, now we're one with the world. I can't lose this feeling I get. My heart's in the right place, and so is my soul, yeah. I won't take no excuses for it. I want it, love it, need it, live it. I feel like something's missing when I do not have it. I feel it in my bones, gotta find my space. These emotions on my face, taking a toll, I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. Yeah, no what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. I won't, I won't be there. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Lifting me, lifting you. Can't go alone, let's do by two. Doing this together, it's me by you. All through the night, all through the night. This is me, this is you. When we get together, we can all pull through. I don't ever wanna stop this groove. Let's get it right. Take it to the Lord, then take it to the grave. Listen to the wise man, tell me what he say. Listen to your heartbeat like it still bleed. A little bit of hope, yeah, it's what we still need. Say a little prayer for the moment. Give what you got, just go in. Can't hold you back if you own it. Live your life like it's chosen. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. I won't be there. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Know what I need, I know what I need. To find the keys, the keys.
Chasing love in an empty bar. Pour a drink till I make it past. The midnight hour seems to come and go, but I know. Walk on up with a drink in hand, sipping mixers cause you can. And all the lights begin to switch off. You're chasing the night, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, holding on for holding on for life, feeding the high, chasing the night, chasing the night. Hotel rooms and city squares, champagne bottles, drum and snare. The sights and cities seem to fall away when you stay. Locked in love for a night or two, losing sleep just to get a few. Day to day you wanna stay out, you're chasing the light, holding on for life, fading the high, chasing the light, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, holding on for chasing the night, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night.
We're living for the moment now, we're one with the world. I can't lose this feeling I get. My heart's in the right place, and so is my soul, yeah. I won't take no excuses for it. Love it, need it, live it. I feel like something's missing when I do not have it. I feel it in my bones, gotta find my space. These emotions on my face, taking a toll, I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. Yeah, no what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. If I won't, I will be there. Just leave it to me. I know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to RCI TV. My name is Ryan Gill, and I am proud to be presenting the fourth round of the Intercontinental GT Sprint Championship here to you tonight. I'm going to be your broadcaster and man behind the cameras, and joining me all the way from the States is Jesse Lee.
Yes, hello everybody out there, RCI TV. It's great to be back for some Pro Series action in the ICGT Championship live from the mountain today. And it wouldn't be a Pro Series broadcast if it wasn't joined by Mr. Random Call Sign, the only man I know who's faster than Jensen Button. How's it going, Random?
Wow, that's a good presentation. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Doing very well. Myself, I've been I've been getting around. I've been quite busy lately with commentary and such. But I mean, Jesse's been a bit MIA on the Discord recently. What have you been up to, Jesse? Before we get into things.
Yeah, I certainly have. I've been dealing with IRL work and the like therein, so sort of been a bit distracted by that. My last commentary job was a week ago today, so been a bit sad about that, to be honest. I'd like to be in the booth at least a couple times a week, and at least we have today. Business about to pick up in RCI in a big way. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, as the race goes on today. But guys, we are at the mountain. I love this track. I know some people that absolutely hate this place, but I'm not sure how that's possible. I love this place. Ryan, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, this is one of the best tracks in the world, hands down. Right from the start. I mean, I think I look forward to the 12 hours of Bathurst at the start of every year more than I do Le Mans or Spa. And those races are twice the distance of this one. So, you know, I look forward to the Bathurst race in IRL way more than I do some of the 24-hour races that we have going on. And tonight, well, we have a 60-minute sprint race around the Mount Panorama circuit. And I have to say, Jesse Lee, with how tight things are in the championship at the moment, it's anyone's game so far, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. One issue after another for a lot of our top runners, and what you get is a splendid mix of confusion and very close points, and that's what we have here today. For those of you that weren't with us 2 weeks ago, first let me say shame on you. Why weren't you there? It was a fantastic race. Tinko Vandervelde took the checkered flag there to earn his first win of the season. He also has that coveted points lead, but he's being attacked by Jardier in second place. He's about 15 points out, and that is very doable with our points system, but he's not alone with that second step of the podium. He's got Killy and Ryan Mean in there with him. They are deadlocked, ladies and gentlemen, for second place. Jardier wins the tiebreaker, though, because he holds that coveted win. But it is anybody, and even back to fourth place with Michael Muthen, he's only 10 points back of Jardier and Ryan Meenan. So it is all to play for here with 2 rounds, and I can't think of a more chaotic racetrack to go to. I think we're going to have more questions than answers at the end of today.
Yeah, things definitely tight in the championship. As you can see, we're going through some of the standings now. It's even so close in what you technically consider the top part of the midfield, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, 12th place, 73 points. 13th, 14th, both on 71. 69 points for 15th place. 16th place is on 65. Also 17th place, Christian Veal is on 65. It's so close throughout the pack. And, you know, a very good result from anyone here tonight could bump them significantly up the table.
That's absolutely right. We've certainly seen that throughout this entire series. One person's misfortune is another person's fortune indeed, and that's certainly what we've seen. We've had no shortage of dramas in this championship, and we are only getting started here tonight. Practice just finishing up. We'll have that very illustrious qualifying session, and I think more than anything here, Random Call Sign, qualifying is important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This track really only has like a few areas to overtake, and it's basically either going up the hill just before the mountain or down the hill just before the going around. So you really need to be on front if you want to get yourself a good buffer against people that are behind you. So qualify is half the race here, and then the other half is not to die. So it's going to be a good one, I think.
So, of course, this is the 4th round of the championship. 5 rounds in total for this season. We'll be finishing the season off in 2 weeks' time for the pros at Suzuka. And I have to say, I'm kind of glad, Jesse Lee, that the finale is being held at Suzuka, because I think Bathurst would be a bit too extreme for a season finale.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure who put this schedule together. I don't know if that was you, Mike, or or Tom Roberts, or some of the others, but I think it was paced properly. We have a great mixture of really fast tracks, tight tracks, technical tracks, and of course we end at Suzuka. So I think that's great because Suzuka, to me, in my mind, has always been considered a really fast track, and let the ponies run, and I have no problem with that. I'm definitely glad, to your point, that this is the penultimate round and not the final round. As qualifying gets underway here, all drivers being released from pit road. And another thing I'm going to mention here, I saw a large amount of sign-outs for this event, and I was a bit afraid to see what the entry list was actually going to look like in this race, especially right before we went live here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about some of the sign-outs, but to have 23 cars still, that's a good sign.
I'm going to be against what you say. I would think Bathurst would be great as a final round. Exactly because of the drama that can happen in the mountain. You know, Suzuka is more or less a regular track, so you would not see any pressure on the drivers. At least as much as you would if you put Bathurst on the last round. That is my opinion.
Well, of course, random call sign there. He likes a bit of chaos and drama. He absolutely feeds on that. I opened him up today by saying that he was faster than Formula One world champion Jenson Button. That's in reference to a race he did earlier in the year where he defeated Jenson Button in a one-on-one. So that was pretty awesome. And
That's overselling it.
That's not overselling it. It happened. You did it, and you beat the man. And was that for a top 10 as well?
For fourth position.
Fourth position. There you go. It's so long ago. My tiny brain.
Also, I'm severely messed up in that race. I couldn't get the car to start. So.
That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly my point. Random call sign loves the chaos, and chaos is what you're going to get here today as some of the drivers that got out of pit road at the drop of the green flag for qualifying, starting their first laps. You'll get a couple around here. You got 15 minutes. You got time to maybe make a mistake or two and get another lap in there, but certainly everybody now is going to be looking for that banker lap meaning a lap that may not quite be on the pace that you could overall run, but just sort of a safety net, because any position in the middle of the field is still better than starting at the back, or is it, Ryan?
Oh, well, I mean, as we just see Josef Varga going a bit wide there up towards the cutting, and yeah, I mean, look, this is the kind of circuit where you don't really want to be following anyone. You want to have clean air. Yes, you know, overtaking on the mountain, it's not impossible. It's incredibly difficult, it's incredibly risky, and very rarely does it pay off. And, you know, this is one of those style circuits that you think it's not quite Monaco level. I mean, there is overtaking opportunities around here. You know, random call sign was alluding to earlier, you know, down in towards the chase and up towards Quarry Bend, you've got some incredible overtaking opportunities if you can carry the pace. But, you know, this is one of those circuits that leans itself towards a good qualifying position will be vital towards a race finish here. But even more important than a good qualifying position around here is the ability to stay calm, stay composed, and not have your car end up in the wall, because it's a lot easier said than done around this place.
I think, in my opinion, from the very little experience I have running around here, the qualify is very important, and it's the first 2 laps where everybody is very compact. If somebody messes up, it messes up everybody behind them as well. There's no way that you're going to miss a high-speed crash there. There's no way to flee. In most tracks, okay, maybe there's an accident with 2 or 3 cars. On this one it's about 80% Macau. You're just going to have a group of train of people crashing into each other. It's going to be very hard.
Well, we certainly have seen that in the past. I sort of agree with both of you guys. The very appropriately named Turn 1 Hell's Corner Hell Corner is a great place to crash on the initial start, and then my personal expectation is to see people crash in the chase at the end of the first lap. But we have seen that pile up that Random's talking about in Skyline. Where Ryan, you and I covered a race once where literally the entire field was caught up in a wreck there at Skyline. Absolutely apocalyptic sort of conditions there. Cars were parked all the way back into Reed Park in the cutting for that accident as the race was sort of pseudo halted by incident. Absolutely crazy stuff happens around this joint, and these guys right now are going to be looking to put in some absolutely crazy laps. It's always astonishing to me to see how fast these guys can go on this tight, twisty track, especially right here through the S's and down into Forest Elbow and the Dipper. So we'll be interested to see what our lap times are going to look like.
Speaking of crazy laps, Herbert Frosch, which I'm very likely destroying his name, as I normally do. First driver over here, posting a sub 201, so he's on a 2-minute mark, 2:0091, so it's pretty fast already. We are seeing very good times being posted on the 201 marks, and quite a lot of people on that mark, so we're going to see, I think, some good action as time comes.
Jesse Lee alluding to some of the things that we've seen on the mountain in races before. I think the most unusual thing I have ever seen, I'm pretty sure it was Andre Franke, who had spun his car coming out of the cutting, and it was facing the wrong way, and he had to reverse it up Griffin's Mount. And
wow.
And the best thing I remember was Jardier, just to say, threading the needle between Andre Franke's reversing car and the wall, and then going back and watching his stream highlights to him to shout to himself, "I'm a Jedi," and I'm pretty sure you can find that in his intro at some point for his streams. It's as one of the most unusual and amazing things I've seen at this circuit.
Well, also RCI's own Jake, the Bosmeister Boswell, saw him once go through cars. They were wrecking in Skyline. He split one to the left, one to the right. They added another chicane in there for him, and he made his way through. And I started calling him Jedi Jake because there's no way he could have seen them. He was around, Reed Park, I think, at that time. There's no way he saw that, and he made it through. That was really impressive. This place can make heroes and zeros out of you, really, is sort of the MO. As we see Lubomir Zeman coming across the line, he actually stopped right there at the line. So we're actually going to go to Alistair Gillies here. He's down the list, hasn't set a lap yet. This will be his first lap that he's ran, and that's going to be good enough for 12th. Championship leader Vander Velde leading right now, qualifying for a 2-minute 0.807. That is the quickest. Ryan, are we getting down into the 59s today?
Oh, I don't think so, Jesse. If you have a look towards the top right of your screen, you will be able to see the current track temperature. It's 39 degrees at the moment on track. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or just past 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so this is when the track is pretty much at its toastiest. It's at its boiling point, and yeah, these kind of conditions, I don't realistically see anyone going into the 59s. I mean, Tinko van der Velde at 2-minute 0.8 is an incredibly quick lap in these kind of conditions. So, my instinct is there's no way we're going to hit a 59 today.
I agree.
Yeah, all right. You guys heard it here first. Both Random Call Sign and Mr. Ryan Gill both in agreement here. We're not going to hit that illustrious 1-minute 59 here today. And as the Australians would say, this isn't just hot, this is Aussie hot today. You could go fry an egg out there on that racetrack right now. But anyway, we are still driving towards the end of qualifying here as we find Stephen Wurst for the first time today. He hasn't really had the championship that he would like to have. He's not having the qualifying lap that he would like to have as well. Hit that curb, got the big Porsche up on it, and just about slammed into pit road wall. Watch the left side tires lift off the ground, saves it, gets it back going, but that is going to be game over, and no improvement from him, he's going to have to very quickly reset and go out and actually run a lap. Otherwise, he's going to be in the middle towards the back of this pack, and that's not where you want to be. And here's Jardier. Jardier, second in this championship, has not had a qualifying run that we would expect out of him in his very, let's just call it Jardier style paint job, and he is coming around to finish his lap. We'll see if he improves here. He has to know that Van der Velde is running really quick laps up in front of this field. How much does he improve? We'll know in a moment. Goes all the way to 5th. Now that's a better starting position, and as we all know, Jardier qualifies well, but he races better.
What is wrong with the paint job? I think it's totally fine and acceptable.
I didn't say anything was wrong with that. I said it was a Jardier style paint job.
He's actually driving for the Yaz Heat, representing the Yaz Heat esports team at the moment. He ran a similar livery last night, I think it was, in the ACR. Well, maybe not last night, the night before. I can't exactly remember. It's whenever one of the ACR leagues was running, he ran a similar paint job style. Which is a bit different to his normal one. His normal one has some white and dark blue on it, whereas, of course, this one, in the colours of the Yaz Heat esports team, because I'm not entirely sure if he's being partnered with them or he's just representing them for a few races. I'll have to double check on that, but Jardier at the moment, 6/10 off of pole position, not entirely the kind of performance we would have expected from him. He is the highest Porsche, though, so far on the grid, and in fact, if you wanted to find the second Porsche so far on the grid, it'd be Alistair Gillies all the way down in 14th.
His partials are pretty nice. I think he's going to take around 2 to 3 tenths of a second, which would put him in 3rd position. So let's check it out. Oh, he lost so much speed on Forest Elbow.
Oh, dear. He was on it up until that point. Those first 2 sectors, he was absolutely hustling the car. He's actually abandoned the lap now, Random, because of the little bobble there in Forest that you saw. So he's given up, and Ryan, who is working our cameras for us today and also commentating because he's an absolute Iron Man, he actually went back to Tinko van der Velde here, and I can only suspect that is because he's up on his time. He's going to have a Bentley in front of him, though. How will this hinder him? This actually might be a positive if you can get around Forest here and get a little bit of run, and you see there the Bentley giving the turn signals.
A lot of time. Yeah.
I got to get... That's unfortunate.
He lost some time coming into Forest Elbow. He was actually dead even on his time. In fact, he hadn't improved, but obviously he wasn't down on his time either. I think maybe what he was probably hoping for was to be able to catch the Bentley a little bit later, maybe carry some slipstream all the way down the chase, and unfortunately that hasn't quite happened for him. Someone who is up on his lap time, just by a tenth though, Tarek Gamil in the Bentley. And of course, this is a car so popular around here at Bathurst, and as he gets a bit of a squirmy exit from Forest Elbow. I found this out fairly recently, Jesse Lee, but Bentley is a massive brand in Australia, and particularly here at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that either. We've discussed that before about just how big they are in Australia, and especially here. And, I mean, they won this year's 12-hour, didn't they? Did they not? It's a fantastic brand, and I love these cars. They're always a sentimental favorite of mine, sort of like the Emil Frey Jags of yesteryear. I love these gigantic cars. I love anything that looks a bit odd. These things are mental and always a crowd pleaser, and the sound off of these things are great as well. As Tarek Gamil actually does improve, goes to 4th place, and just another fan favorite there. Of course, I mean, you take any car in this paddock, and I think it's going to be a fan favorite for somebody. I think that is sort of the point of sports car racing. Alistair Gillies back down in 15th place in his 168 Porsche. He's going to have some moving to do as he comes through the chase now. We'll see how much he improves. Has some traffic up in front of him. Perhaps won't catch it. Hopefully will not be a factor here. Love this car. Light blue and white. Something similar to what I would like to drive. He's going to go around the final corner. We'll see how much does he improve. He gets 1 position. and
He
that's
lost so
still in
much
the middle.
time after the chase. He got the very good run out of Forrest's elbow. That gives me always the opinion that Forrest's elbow and the Hell corner are two of the most important corners around here, because the speed you need to carry into the mountain or out of the mountain. And he messed up the chase and messed up Murray's, and he lost all the advantage he had.
It's quite interesting as we watch Jake Boswell at the moment. He's up on his time by 0.6 of a second. That you mention the speed you need to carry through Hell Corner and Forest Elbow. I had a Bathurst race here as Jake Boswell jumps up to 16th. I had a Bathurst race here that I was in a Lamborghini. I was actually being chased down by the likes of Billy Octane. And Billy Octane in the Bentley had so much more pace in a straight line than I had, but my Lamborghini managed to exit Forest Elbow so much quicker than the Bentley could that it didn't matter that the Bentley was quicker in a straight line, because by the time that Billy Octane's straight line speed came into effect over the Lamborghini, he was too far away to challenge into the braking zone anyway. So, it's an interesting point that you make, and it's something that that people probably don't pay too much attention to, is that your exit speed out of a couple of
Sorry
these
for
corners.
interrupting, but I think Jardier is going to move to 3rd position. Sorry for interrupting. He is doing Murray's right now. He got 0.3 of a second, goes over the curb and drops to 4th, just 0.003 of a second out of Daniel Brambilla. He had so much pace, like out of force, like we were talking about. He was able to keep it, but he just did a small mistake out of Murray's, and that cost him the 0.003 of a second.
Well, we haven't talked about this guy at all. This is Herbert Froschel. He has been solidly in 2nd place. He was about a 10th slower than Vandervelde earlier. Of course, Vandervelde has gone quicker for a 2-minute .588, so he was able to improve his time after all. Can Froschel, can he improve upon his time in the very rare Honda in this championship? He's been a crowd pleaser in this series. Where does he go? He improves all the way back to a 10th, and he says, "Not so fast, Mr. Vandervelde." And that will conclude qualifying. That was an incredible end to qualifying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely an interesting end there. Herbert Froschel not quite having the pace to take pole position, but he will start on the front row alongside the current championship leader, Tinko van der Velde. And of course, Tinko van der Velde will be happy to be sitting on the front row leading the championship, knowing he's going to have the best line into turn 1. And, looking behind him, Jaroslav Honzik in 4th. And then, well, would you believe it, Kilian Ryan Meenan all the way down in 14th, Jesse.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but just like we talk about Jardier, maybe not qualifying on pole all the time, but racing really well, that's what I expect from Kilian Ryan Meenan here today. He's going to come up through this field somehow. I don't know how he does it. He just always seems to do it. But if you are Tinko van der Velde right now, this is the 2nd best feeling in motorsports. You are the championship leader. You've got a little bit of a points gap. You're the winner of the last race that we went out on. And you have the pole position. You have everybody behind you. You may be wondering, Jesse, what's the best feeling in motor racing? Being the leader of the championship, sitting on pole, and not having anybody in the rearview mirror halfway through the race. That is the best feeling in motorsport.
I thought it was to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women, but I stand corrected.
I think there's a difference between the English and Portuguese translation, Random.
Well, moving on from English and Portuguese translations, it's time for everyone's favourite game, pre-race. It's predictions time, and you know what? Just because I haven't spoken to him for a while, I'm going to throw it straight to Jesse Lee. Put him on the spot. Jesse, who's your pick for tonight?
Well, Ryan, it's a very simple selection to make here tonight, and I am going to pick Herbert Froschel. He's going to win this race, not only for Honda, but he's going to win this for all the Honda fans out there. Nobody is going to be able to beat him today. Vanderveld's going to make a mistake. Froschel is going to be the one that picks up the pieces today.
Well, Jesse Lee going for the Honda, and quite a nice pick there, I think, indeed. And, well, I'm going to throw it over to Random Call Sign now. Who's going to be your pick for today's race?
I'm actually going to pick Herbert as well. I think he's done really well. The Honda is quite good on the mountain, and I think it will be superior to the Audi. The Audi can be a squirrely boy, so I'll pick up the Honda.
Okay, so well, two votes for Herbert Froschel
VTech, bro.
to take the win here tonight. You know what? I'm not gonna put up with it. I'm not gonna join in and jump on the bandwagon. I'm gonna vote for my mate Tinko van der Velde, who, by the way, I did beat at a race at Spa about 6 months ago. So no one forget that.
Oh dear, he choked up on the mic for that. Did you hear that, folks at home?
Yep, so I'm just going to point that out. If he wins the championship, I just want to make it known I've beaten him twice on track. You know, everyone calm down. But no, in all seriousness, Tinker van der Velde, he's good mate of mine. Very, very good racer. And, well, leading the championship and, of course, collecting pole position here today. I think he will get it done. And that Audi, it's probably not the most stable car around here, but boy, is it quick.
So let me get this straight. Between the three of us, we picked the front row, and we stuck to the front row. We have no faith by picking those. We have no faith in Brambilla in third, Jardier, Gamil, Sundstrom.
Okay, I'll pick Cavaca. João Cavaca has this. Vá lá, João, vá, dá-lhe.
Oh my goodness, the Portuguese picking the Portuguese driver, the number 33 Ferrari back in 11th. You heard it here first. Random Call Sign has picked the 11th place driver at the Australian Monaco to win this race, and if he wins, I will eat my hat. But my goodness, we have seen crazier things, though, in all seriousness, folks, around this place. So anything is possible here today. But one thing that Tinko van der Velde...
bicycle, yeah.
If anything, Tinko van der Velde right now is like, I have to have a clean start. I have to clear Froschel into turn one, and I have to get a little bit of a gap. Because if you don't get a little gap around here, these two master straightaways, you're not getting away, especially with how close Froschel is. A tenth is nothing around here. So he has to get a clean start as they are right about to start their pacing lap. And there it is. Pace lap underway before we get this thing green lit. Thank you all for being with us today. The fourth round of the ICGT Pro Championship about to go green here. Round 5 in 2 weeks. That will be the finale. Your championship leader by 15 points, Tinko van der Velde, leading the race, getting the pole position here today, was the winner the last time out as well, earning his first win. Has it all to do today, though? It is more than being quick around here. It's about not throwing it off the track. And that Audi, as you two have stated already, sometimes can be a tough mistress.
And it's a mistress that talks German, and I heard those were very tough.
So, looking towards the timing board for tonight, if it's your first time joining an ACC broadcast, or maybe an RCI broadcast, you might be wondering to yourself, what's the little amber icon next to everyone's racing numbers that we have here? It has a little 1 in it, you might have noticed. Well, that means that there is a mandatory pit stop that needs to be required by all of these drivers tonight. There are no strict regulations on what needs to be performed. It can be damage, fuel, tyres, or, well, just stopping in your pit box is apparently enough to trigger it, but some people have actually not had that work out too well for them, because ACC doesn't register that at all times. So I would take a litre of fuel just to be safe, but yeah, they have to make one mandatory pit stop. So, of course, we will be seeing that throughout the race. And the pit lane entry, let me tell you, as someone who has fallen victim to it, the pit lane entry is not easy here. There's about 2 chicanes in the pit entry. And it's caught out drivers way more skilled than I have before. And it's going to be something to watch out for here tonight.
Yeah, and you also carry the speed that out of the chase. You are, with that mentality, okay, I need to flat out, and then it just cuts into something that is very slow.
I'm actually a bit sad Ryan mentioned that pit road mishap of his. I was going to mention that about halfway through the race and get thrown out of the booth, but that was devastating to see that happen. And you're not the first driver I've seen that happen too. You hop those curbs into pit roads and all goes sideways, and that is not something you want to have to deal with. It is something you have to be aware of around here. It seems to happen at least once every race. That aforementioned race where it happened to Ryan, it happened to 2 other drivers besides. So as we come down the chase right now, getting ready to go green, I can't imagine what any of these drivers are thinking about right now. They're probably all thinking, though, if I'm honest, got to make it through the first turn, That is one of the hardest first turns in all of motorsports, that 90 left called Hell Corner, appropriately named indeed. All the drivers getting a weave about, going to file up 2 by 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see. 23 drivers here taking the green flag for the 4th race in this championship. And if I do believe the 221 of Varga is still in pit road or has been towed back to pit road, they will have to start from the pit lane.
So here we are as they come into the chase. Tinker van der Velde slowing down a bit, letting the rest of the pack bunch up. And of course everyone making sure that they are going to maintain themselves in the correct starting position. No one wants to pick themselves up a drive-through penalty here tonight before the races really even got underway. We do have live stewarding here tonight. Any incidents that go on throughout this race will be looked at by our live stewarding team, and they will make sure that, any punts or intentional contacts are punished as necessary. But as we come round the final corner now, it's time to start round 4 of the Intercontinental Sprint Championship. The pros are here. Tinker van der Velde and Herbert Froschel line up on the front row of the grid. We are green for round 4 of 5. And Tinker van der Velde gets exactly the start he needed into turn 1. And Herbert Froschel getting a little bit of a tap from behind from Brambilla, but that's going to allow Jaroslav Honzik to have a really good run out of turn 1. And he's already past the Mercedes.
That is 110% what van der Velde wanted there. Froschel tried to slot himself in between him and Brambilla. That did work out, but all that did was hurt Brambilla's entry into the turn, and all of a sudden, Jardier profits from that up to 3rd, Hungary digging for 2nd place. Meanwhile, van der Velde gone, different area code. It doesn't really matter at this point, but just as I say that, it has drawn back up a little bit. Van der Velde does not have quite the lead he had a few turns ago. He is being hunted down by the Honda because the Honda is being hunted by the Porsche.
Was a great start from van der Velde. Herbert Froschel had I think he made the wrong decision when he went to the left side. He touched the back of his car against the Mercedes and he lost quite a speed at Hells. So this is the reason why Jardier is now on 3rd. He was super pragmatic and saw an opportunity to overtake 2 cars, and he did it.
I have to say as well, just a quick shout out, we haven't finished the first lap yet, but we've got through what is probably the trickiest part of the circuit, and there's been no major incidents. Really nice to see the field getting away cleanly through the 1st and 2nd sectors.
Oh, there's a move!
But as we come down towards the chase now, the slipstream from the Honda, he's going to have a move on Tinker van der Velde. And he is going to be past Tinker van der Velde as we come into the chase. We'll get a little bit of a replay here. And he's actually in front of him before coming into the braking zone. And Herbert Froschel will take the lead of the race coming into the end of the first lap.
I did not see that coming, but I did mention before the race started that with the speed that both of these drivers had, that it wouldn't be that much of an issue getting a slipstream, and I think we've just seen that the Honda has a little more grunt down the straightaway. But what is going to be the rebuttal from Tinko van der Velde here on lap 2, and can Jardier go ahead and benefit from this. And oh my, look at this. We're with Samuel Ratz, who's back in 8th, trying to pass Lawrence for 7th. Everybody trying to make a pass, going around the outside, not where you want to do it. They're still going to be side by side as they start to come up the mountain. Big touch, big wiggle into the wall. I think that's going to be Barrier, I'm pretty sure. Either that or it's McCauley. It's one of the two. They are straight on into the wall. They have recovered, and as you see them back in the back of your picture there, they're down 3 or 4 positions.
But it was indeed Barrier was on a 2x2. He took it too wide. He went over the curbing, and the curbing threw him against the wall. It was very sad, but great racing nonetheless.
Managed to recover it very, very well. No, we've got a Honda in the middle of the track.
Oh, it's Rochelle!
Oh my goodness, the leader, something has gone wrong with the leader. We have went to the replay, this replay provided by Ryan Gill. It's going to show us exactly what's happened. He's coming up to Skyline now. What could possibly have went wrong? Oh, he wiggles massively, and right before he gets to Skyline, a huge hit and slams the wall, and that's all but going to end his race. He's going to have to come in for repairs. Major damage. The leader of the race has crashed at Skyline. Tinko Vandervelde has reassumed the lead on lap 2.
And I have to say, it's so easy to do that, going through the speed that you carry, and massive credit to him to getting out of the way and making sure that no one else got
caught up. Big mess at the chase. 3 cars, including my favorite one, Cavaca. They crashed. If you can go there, there's a really big accident. Well, there was a big accident with Cavaca. I think Bart Magia, I think. 4 cars into the wall.
We're going to have a look at the replay. It's Valentin Barrier who collides with Killian Ryan Meenan. Oh, and big contact down towards the bottom of the chase.
Oh, that is a large repair bill there. 4 or 5 cars involved heavily, and there you have it. Look at all these cars sitting on pit road. It looks like a practice session, but I assure you it's the race. We're 5 minutes in. We've already eliminated about 6 cars from actual contention in this race, and every single one of them, guys, was inside the top 15.
8 cars on the pits already. There's a few going out, having done the repairs, but those accidents we've seen, especially with the race leader, those were going to take a long time. It's very sad. It was clean racing nonetheless, but small mistakes like going over curbs, costing a lot of time. And speaking going over curbs, Vandervelde out of Forest Elbow, almost hitting the wall. You locked the tires and understeered, and now Honzik is hunting him.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, Random, that around here a mistake can be a chain reaction of incidents, and it's so true. And I mean, there wasn't really anything any of the guys could have done to avoid that situation. They slowed down as best as they could, but it was just too quick for them to react. And like you said, unfortunately, quite a few cars in the pit lane early on. But for Tinko Vandervelde, everything has gone fairly well so far. Herbert Froschel got ahead of him, had an accident on his own, and that now just leaves Jaroslav Honzik within half a second right now to the back of Tinko Vandervelde. Can Jardier stay with the Audi, or is the pace around here of the 66 going to be too quick for him? I would wager that Jardier can stay with him, and then you can see Tarek Gamil in the background in the Bentley. He's going to be looking to gain time on them as well.
Yeah, if you're Tarek Gamil back in 3rd place, you're grinning right now. You're like, this race is going pretty good for me so far. Everybody in front of me has sort of left me alone. Also, big brain moves by Vandervelde, realizing, he just sort of let that position go coming down through the chase for that first lap. He let Froschel go. And how imperative was that he didn't fight him? He was far enough back that he was able to avoid the spinning car coming into Skyline. and he just reassumes the lead. He has Jardier behind him, and it's worth mentioning Jardier has halved the deficit that he once had leading up to this point. Jardier clearly on the attack. Remember earlier in the race started, we all agreed that Jardier, even though he's a good qualifier, he's a better racer, and that's exactly what we see out of him week in and week out. Look at him up here in second, and Tarek Gamil quietly in third. Sundstrom has up to fourth. Lawrence up to fifth at this point. So that's all going their way. Some of these cars, though, and I will mention this, they have come in and they have pitted. Some of the damage was not a whole lot or enough to really warrant any sort of damage, repair, or changes. So they just came in and they've done their pit stop. That's going to throw a wrench into the late game of this race. When we get back around 50 minutes from now, and some of these cars that may have been involved in those accidents, some of the fast guys, maybe Forshell, maybe Conway, whenever they're up inside the top 5 maybe, we'll have to pay attention to that, because all these other guys, they still have to pit. I don't know the extent of Forshell's damage, but we're going to have to wait about 50 minutes before we find out, guys.
Think so as well. We're going to see that I think Forshell is out of the race completely for top positions. He's done a 205. His car has extensive damage. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get back any time out of it. I believe he won't. I think it's one between Tinko van der Velde and Jaroslav Onzik. Maybe Tarek Gamil can throw a wrench in the spanner maybe later, as the Bentley is actually pretty nice around here.
We're watching Samuel Ratz get just a bumper full of Brambilla now going up the hill. This camera angle, again, Ryan Gill just doing these great camera angles for us right now, shows you the savagery of hitting these curves and what the speeds look like. It doesn't look that bad whenever you're in the car or riding on the TV camera. But realistically, this is what it is like. This is the savagery of this racetrack and the speeds that you're hitting these curves and just driving around. This camera mounted inside the bumper, the bottom bumper splitter area of the Lamborghini. Of course, you're looking at Brambilla, and this is just a demonstration of what driving a lap around here would feel like if you were, perhaps an ant or something like that. And just the speed, look at how fast the tarmac and the trees go by in this angle. Samuel Ratz sort of at the caboose, or actually in the middle, actually, because Macaulay's right behind him, of this group. He seems to have the pace into sector 1 and 2. He would desperately like to get in front of some of these guys, knowing some of the dangers that were ahead of him. As one car just skims the dirt there, continues on. Samuel Ratz, one of the guys that's been sort of quiet in this championship, but he always seems to find himself back in the top 10, doesn't he, Ryan?
Yeah, he does. He kind of has a little bit of a nature about him of kind of just going unnoticed about his business. He currently sits 8th in the championship on 106 points, and he's, got Joe Macaulay just behind him, and Joe Macaulay is someone who's actually in front of him in the championship, so he'll be looking to keep that Aston Martin firmly behind him. Some of the other guys in front of him, Darren King and Ossi Takamaki, are not present tonight, so of course he will be gaining points on them and moving himself a few places up the championship order, just assuming he finishes the race tonight. So, Samuel Ratz, he'll be crawling his way into the top 5 fairly quickly if he can keep up a good performance here tonight. But this Lamborghini, it runs well around here, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Lamborghini fan. This car feels good around here, especially if you can get the setup nailed, as we see the Mercedes of Brambilla having a bit of a difficult time. Remember, Brambilla qualified 3rd on the grid. Now he's down to 6th.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this is because of the incidents that were in front of him, and maybe it slowed him down, caught him up. Obviously, we saw what happened into turn 1 on the first lap, but other than that, I'd be interested to see how much of this was pace related and how much of this was just trying to not be taken out of the race related.
Something about race related. Hanzik did a small mistake, and now Tarek Gamil is about a second away instead of 3. So that's going to spice up in the future.
Yeah, as we're looking right now at Tarek or not Tarek Gamil, Samuel Ratz, sorry, trying to close down on Brambilla, but it's going to be Joe McCauley that's going to take an inside line. It's going to be an outside line as he comes into the chase. Samuel Ratz takes the position back, and he won't be letting the Aston Martin through. And it was actually a mistake from Brambilla that opened an opportunity up for Joe McCauley. And, well, Samuel Ratz would have been very, very frustrated if he'd had to let that Aston Martin go. He hasn't let the Aston Martin go, but he has lost some time to Brambilla ahead, although I'd wager that Brambilla has probably picked up some damage on the side of that Mercedes. He did hit the wall, well, at quite a pace.
Yeah, he sure did, but Samuel Ratz here has hit the dirt exiting Hell Corner, and that has opened up the door for McCauley. He's going to drive in the middle of the road as Samuel Ratz, but it isn't going to be quite enough. Can he get to him to clear him? No, he can't. Is that going to be a touch? That's absolutely going to be a touch. They're absolutely going to crash. McCauley has gone hard into the wall, and that's going to bring out the local yellow flag. Absolute chaos here. He tries to cut him off. He can't do it. A double tap, and that is going to do it for McCauley, and that has also given damage to Samuel Ratz, no doubt.
I'm not sure if it was the first impact, but the second one might give him some important damage. They were side-by-side into Griffins. It kind of seems for me, and I'm not, I'm not the judge in here. It kind of seems to me that it was a bit too eager going over the apex or to cut the apex there. I'm not sure if it didn't seem to me that it was intentional. It just happened.
Well, like I said, we do have live stewards here tonight, although I think the live stewards are probably going to be very, very busy at the moment because with, the accident that happened down into the chase, I think they've probably got their hands full with that at the moment. A cluster of cars caught up in that, and now, obviously, there's going to be an incident for them to look at regarding Samuel Ratz and Joe McCauley. Obviously, we're commentators, and we'll give our opinions, although we have to remain neutral and unbiased. And,
it was all Jardier's fault, all of it.
There it is. There it is. Samuel Ratz must have damage. He must think this is the perfect time to come into pit road. He's going to navigate that tricky double chicane. He is going to come in and do his pit stop. This will fulfill his mandatory pit stop, and he may, we'll actually just, if you don't mind staying with him for a moment, Ryan, maybe we'll figure out, we'll actually be able to tell by how long he stays there if there's damage on the car or if he fixes it. This could take him out of the race. That's why this is important if he tries to fix damage, and yeah, he's doing so, isn't he? Because he sat there for too long.
I believe so. Yeah, it was quite fast. It was like a 5 or 10 second repair, all things considered. Could have been much worse.
Probably just a bit of front-end damage on that Lamborghini, although if you ask Andre Franca, he'll tell you that you can actually dent the front of the Lamborghini and make it slightly quicker around some circuits, Kyalami being one of them, so...
Oh, dear.
So leave it to Andre Franca to figure out the ins and outs of how to make a car quicker by hitting a wall. But, yeah, so Samuel Ratz comes in, probably just fixing a bit of damage on the front end of that car, and, I mean, to be honest, this is not really the track where you want to be carrying any damage around any part of this circuit, so... Makes sense to get anything that had been done to that car fixed as soon as possible, and he'll carry on his way.
Yes, indeed. Up front, the story is the same. Tinko Vandervelde leads this race, lost it briefly on the first lap, got it back. Horschel had an accident. Looks like Jardier second place. Earlier, we heard mention random call sign said that Jardier had a bit of an incident. That dropped him back. He was only a few tenths behind him. Now he's about a second adrift of the leader. Tarek Gamil in third place as well. Daniel Brambilla here, who was looking like the guy who was going to be overtaken just a lap or so ago, is now the driver who is hounding fifth place Lawrence now, and doesn't have anybody behind him. The difference a lap makes around here is astonishing. But one other thing, too, for those of you wondering why nobody has received a penalty, it is because they are working them out, and we will report them to you as soon as we have them. I can tell you in earnest that the stewards box is beside ours, and It is a tornado of papers and shouting in there. They are working through some tough incidents, and we will give you live updates whenever we can.
I'm looking in there right now, Jesse, like you said, and there's papers flying all over the place. Stephen DeVust, I think he's the head steward here tonight, and he's not too impressed by what he's seen so far. And Fabian Schruderberger, one of our ex-commentators, and he's in there as well tonight. Nick Setnick, and even Tom Roberts has managed to find his way into the stewarding box for tonight, and they're being shown all sorts of angles and different things, and obviously they're going to be debating stuff as we speak. And I can see someone writing up a report momentarily. So I think, actually,
Lawrence has absolutely hit it through Skyline, and they're going to be side by side in the S's. This is not where you want to be side by side. They are going to sort it out. Brambilla will get the top 5 spot. Lawrence is going to be demoted, and Lawrence is going to have some side damage from that incident, as we are going to see it again. Ryan, Johnny on the spot with the cameras. You come through Skyline all right, but then you get down here to sort of where the S's start, and it is right there in the chicane, and it all goes wrong, and they go side by side here. No, there was contact. Indeed, more contact, light though it may have been. Lawrence then thinks better of it in the S's and backs out. Contact sport racing is, in my opinion, but it's a bit scrappy out there right now, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and speaking of fisticuffs and contact, car number 72 in that would be Valentin Barrier. He got a drive-through, causing a collision that led to a pile-up, multiple cars involved. It has been in regards to that incident at the Chase, where we had like 6 or 7 cars, including very substantial damage to João Cavaca, who has left the race, by the way.
Indeed. Ryan Gill, what do you make of all the contact?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I think between the two Mercedes, it's a bit hard to call, isn't it? Because, Martin Lawrence, he'd already hit the wall. He was already going incredibly slow. I mean, Brambilla, I don't know. I mean, realistically, you would say, look, play it safe, don't go for an overtake, but try telling a racing driver not to go for an opportunity when it shows up. And I don't know. I think there was a little bit of push and shove in there, a bit of contact. I don't think there was any forceful overtake contact. I don't think there was significant enough contact that it would, warrant a penalty coming Brambilla's way. So I think it'll probably be judged as racing incident, no further action. But we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say in a couple of laps' time. But good to hear that we did get a verdict on the incident at the bottom of the Chase, and. Of course, Valentin Barrier has picked up a drive-through penalty for his troubles. Obviously, doesn't help some of the other guys that have, unfortunately had to go into the pit lane and fix some damage, and a couple of guys that I think have DNF'd as well. But of course, Valentin Barrier picking up a drive-through penalty for his troubles. We still await the verdict of the Samuel Ratz Joe McCauley incident as well, by the way, and I can see that one is being investigated as we speak.
Yes, indeed. For those of you wondering in chat here with us tonight, hello everybody in chat, by the way. There you go, the first penalty handed out for a major incident. Of course, it's run by committee, and sometimes it takes a minute to get everything sorted out, as Bart Macha takes a bit of a wild ride into Skyline here. We'll see exactly. Yeah, he just goes a bit wide. I am guilty of that myself quite a number of times. But no harm, no foul there. Just loses a bit of time, gets it back going, and we would call that a fair incident. That's one of those things where nobody's around you, nobody gets in trouble. No, you get yourself out of trouble. And oh my goodness, did Joe McCauley actually hit that wall, or did he get just close enough that he faked me out? I do not know. But certainly we will.
Speaking of McCauley, he has a 15-second penalty. I think it's related to Samuel Ratz's incident. Not totally sure.
It probably is. We haven't had the report come through from the stewards yet. I can see a piece of paper being signed off right now as we speak. Oh, and actually, would you believe it? Nick Setnick has actually jumped into the comm box to hand over the paper himself. rather kind of him. Nick Setnick, unfortunately not in the box tonight, but he will be in the box come next Thursday. And yeah, number 18, 15-second penalty for turning into the 808 line and forcing contact, as we actually see Joe McCauley go past Josef Varga into the chase. But yeah, he's picked up a 15-second penalty for his troubles, and the stewards have seen that as turning in on the Lamborghini and forcing contact. Would you say that's fair?
I would say that.
I mean, he's already lost a lot of time.
Go ahead, Random.
My reaction is exactly this one. It's.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, mine is, I feel like no further action, or maybe a 5-second at best. He certainly was the loser in that situation. I'm not saying that there shouldn't have been a penalty given. It's just, for my taste, I feel like he penalized himself by making that move, honestly. But certainly the stewards...
Just hear me out. Unless the reason it's 15 seconds is because Samuel Ratz was forced to pit for damage.
Oh, you see, Ryan?
True.
Oh, Ryan, see, and that is why I am in the comm box and not the steward's box today, because those big brain moves are above me. But yes, in that case, I will agree that that is correct indeed.
I would agree, yes.
So yeah, just obviously just throwing out, you know, I mean, I don't know exactly how the stewards think, and of course they see all the angles, they see everything, and they'll have known that Samuel Ratz will have gone into the pit lane for damage, and you know, all that sort of stuff. They'll have been able to see the damage on the front of Samuel Ratz's car as well, so they'll know the extent of how bad that incident was way more than we will from just seeing a couple of angles on the broadcast. But you know, 15 seconds, it is what it is, I guess. But Joe McCauley's definitely come out worse from that incident than Samuel Ratz has, and he's going to have to live with a 15-second penalty for the rest of this race. We jump back towards the leaders, and it's just under a second between Tinko van der Velde and Jaroslav Honzik, and in fact the gap seems to be coming down as Jardier's in the slipstream of the Audi.
Yes, and one difference between qualifying and the race is that the track temp is slightly down a little bit. That might help the Porsche a little bit around here, and that might actually be hurting the Audi as well. So this gap is coming down. I've been following for the past, I don't know, about 3 or 4 laps, and it certainly does appear like it's coming down ever so slightly a lap. It has expedited that pace for the past lap or so. Certainly Jardier getting more serious about going for the lead. He's actually getting serious about mowing the grass. Sir, Porsche do not make lawnmowers. So I would definitely keep it out of the grass, Mr. Jardier. But hey, as one of our good friends, Random, would say, the second most important thing in a racing simulator is grass.
Exactly, but in the case of a Porsche lawnmower, it will be exactly the same like the car. The engine is in the wrong place.
Well, based on that note, I don't have anything left to say. Ryan, we're about halfway into this race. Samuel Ratz is the leader of those that have pitted. Turns out Mr. Random Callsign is going to be correct. Rochelle will not probably feature anymore in this race. He has done nothing but lose time to a lot of the other cars based on that damage he sustained in his single car crash. What do we think the strategy is going to be for Jardier?
Oh, I think for Jardier at the moment, I think, you know, he's not, I don't think he's quicker than Tinko van der Velde right now. I think he's gaining in the slipstream, obviously, and, you know, that's helping him stay with the Audi, but I don't necessarily think Jardier is outright quicker. So I think pitting for Jardier is probably the wrong option. I think if you're Jardier at the moment, the one thing you want to do is you want to keep behind him, keep with him. If Tinko van der Velde pits, you pit as well. And I think that's probably going to have to be, you know, the play for Jardier. Either he pits when Tinko van der Velde pits, or he pits the lap after Tinko van der Velde has pitted and hopes that that van der Velde gets stuck in some traffic on his outlap.
Do you think we're going to see any feints for the pit boxes?
Possibly. It's not too much of a common occurrence, if I can get my words out tonight. Maybe you do see it in a few races, but it's not something you see in common as sports like Formula 1 or, World Endurance and stuff like that. So, maybe Tinker van der Velde will play some mind games later on. He is the kind of driver that can bring out a bit of mind game, shenanigans at some point to race, but it's not really his style too much. And I think at the moment he's just focusing on what's ahead of him, which right now is a clear open track.
Well, even the back marker moved out of the way, so I think he has some 5 or 6 laps of clear traffic up until they have to go to the pits. Not sure how long are they going to stay on the race or on the track. The track temperature has diminished about 5 degrees centigrade since the start of the race, so it's becoming quite fast. And their lap times have been super consistent, so I think they're going to stay out.
Shout out to Jake Boswell running inside the top 10. He'll be the first inside the top 10 to flinch. He has brought his car down pit road. 9 cars left that haven't pitted at this point. That is, of course, the top 9. You can see Jake Boswell, the number 47, falling down the order now with his pit stop. Seems to be a fairly lengthy stop here. I could just be imagining that. But seems like he's gone at length. But you know what isn't at length? This gap between first and second. Another lap, another 10th taken out of that lead. And this is all to play for. This is game on. And I agree with you guys. This is the correct strategy. Stay out, put pressure on the leader, and stay within contact. I would absolutely love to see a fake, but not really something that we see out of these two drivers. Can't say I've ever seen either one of them do that, but this is as close as it gets nearing the halfway point in this event, and I think something is rather wrong with the number 47 of Jake Boswell. He is still in pit road, so that is going to take a top 10 spot away from him, I'm afraid, as we go to Valentin Barrier, who is all the way up to 9th place. He's looking at the back of Mr. Haynes right now. He would desperately like to get around that Bentley. These cars are about as wide as each other, and I know we make the jokes about the Bentley being big, but I think the width of these cars are fairly similar.
Might be. Yeah, could be.
Yeah, sorry to kind of interject a bit of an odd point into this conversation, but Valentin Barrier, obviously, he was judged to be at fault for the incident down at the chase, which obviously, quite a few drivers got caught up in that. I think the likes of Bart Matcher, Killian Brian Meenan, Jouke Vacker, and a few others at least. Alistair Gillies was also caught up in that as we hit the halfway point of the race. And Valentin Barrier he's served that drive-through penalty. He does still have a mandatory pit stop to serve. But I'm looking at some of the names a bit far down the order at the moment, and I'm thinking, even once he's served that mandatory pit stop, he's still going to be ahead of quite a few of the guys that were involved in the incident, as he goes a bit wide just before Skyline. And it's one of these weird situations, Jesse, where I think to myself, was a drive-through enough? Or should it have been more?
Yeah,
does crime pay?
Yeah, because in a weird way, you're right, Ryan, because that drive-through didn't punish him quite as bad as perhaps a 15-second would. But then again, you also have to understand he has not served his mandatory stop. He still has to do that. So whenever that happens, that will drop him right through this field. But at this point, it does look like, as Mr. Random Call Sign said, crime does pay, but I think once he has to have that mandatory stop, I think that's going to mess him up just a bit and drop him, I don't know, right around 15th, 16th place. But even then, he may still be in front of some of the drivers that were involved in that incident.
And he is going to peel off into the pit lane as we speak. Maybe he's listening to the stream here tonight, Jesse Lee. But Valentin Barrier comes in for his mandatory pit stop. And, well, the discussion opens up a bit more now. Damage on the side and the front of that Aston Martin. No surprises there. And as he comes into his pit stall, I would imagine he's probably going to be repairing some damage. But he is on his way. And we'll wait to see where he comes back out. But as we go back to the leaders, it's still fairly close.
Back markers coming in, and I've been following Tinko Verdeveld for the last lap, and I think he's having a few issues with his tires. He's dropping pace quite consistently, and he was kind of squirrely after Frog Hollow. He's been maybe fighting the car just a little bit, but that's enough just for Hansik to keep getting closer and closer. So I'm not sure how this is going to develop. If they are going to keep their tires for the full race, they're going to do a change of tires. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, indeed. Halfway point in the race, and time for me to do my bit for the day. Thank you all for being here on RCI TV with us today. Pro Split ICGT round number 4 of 5. And we couldn't be more happy to have you guys with us today. We hope you're enjoying today's broadcast here at Bathurst. And this is just your friendly reminder. If you're liking what you see and you haven't already, why not subscribe and like? That way you never miss a single race. We're racing 4 or 5 times a week here at RCI, and we have a fantastic team that would love to bring you all these races. All you got to do is hit that little subscribe button for us. We would also like to thank all of our partners that make this race and races like this one possible for us as well. And of course, the fans, the drivers, the stewards, and everybody alike that works so hard to have one race come together. And it's an absolute treat of a race it is, with the 2 drivers separated by this, and as Mr. Random Call Sign said, traffic in front of them. Is it a viable strategy at this point, guys? And I'm gonna defer to you. If you're Tinko Vandervelde, do you pit here out of sort of necessity, or do you want to keep trying to hold Jardier up?
I would hold depending on the situation that the tires are on, and depending how the situation of back markers develop. This is going to be bad. He does have a bit of the draft, but the top speed of the guy in front of him is pretty much the same. I don't think he's lifting too much. He just lifted a bit, but it costs Tinko Vandervelde 0.3 of a second, and Hansik is now on the attack, trying to put his nose in. Tinko Vandervelde defended quite well, and Hansik didn't go full aggressive. So there's another car in front of Tinko Vandervelde that is going to be a huge pain if it doesn't get out of the way on the mountain straights.
Catching traffic at the wrong part of the lap here at Bathurst can make or break a battle for you. And, well, for Jardier at the moment, it's starting to make opportunities happen. Tinko Vandervelde weaving in and out of the slipstream of the Nissan, down in 18th place. That's Lubomir Zeman. And this is one of the problems when you're in a battle, is that it's so hard for the first car to get past. But once the first car does get past, the second car has it fairly easy, because they tend to not want to get involved in a battle and move out of the way swiftly, especially with live stewarding here tonight. If people were holding up the leaders intentionally, there would be, obviously, penalties potentially handed out, but none of that going on right here. And Jardier, he's gonna be excited now. I mean, when's he not excited about a race? But he's definitely gonna be excited now. Ooh, as he clips the wall!
Into the wall!
Oh dear, it has went from excellent to poor for Mr. Jardier today in his number 39 Porsche. He had it all in the palm of his hands. One little mistake right on the back of Tinko Vandervelde.
Into the wall!
And we hear the screams of one excited Portuguese man. It is all going to pot here for our top 2 in the race. We're watching Jardier here get way too much curb and crash into the wall slightly. That slowed him down slightly, but we're just hearing that Tinko Vandervelde has also made a mistake and has gone into the wall here. We're going to see if we can't find that particular replay. It's going down through the skyline. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A huge crash in the skyline. Tinko Vandervelde Vandervelde has gone from first to second here. Jardier, even though he scraped the wall, has a massive lead now. Not up to speed is Vandervelde. Vandervelde losing the lead, and the only conclusion we can come to is we've all cursed our drivers.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, 2 mistakes in such a short period of time from both leaders. But Tinko Vandervelde's is the bigger mistake, and it's the mistake that'll cost him. He'll be coming into the pit lane this lap to repair for damage.
He has the car destroyed.
Jaroslav Honzik, how does he do it?
You cannot believe his luck, can you? Even when he makes a mistake, he taps the wall, he still keeps the massive amount of damage off of his car and still maintains the lead. We saw him a month ago, Ryan, win a race damaged with that Porsche. We saw him do that, and he said, oh, you know, I was losing about half a second a lap, and he still won the race. You cannot believe, I don't know what sort of voodoo or lucky rabbit's foot or what deity he believes in, but it is now my new religion, because absolutely astonishing sequence of events on the 17th lap of this race. Jardier tags the wall, but Vandervelde tags the wall harder, and new leader, 39.
It's the commentator's curse, like somebody was saying on chats. I think next week I'll have to pick Jardier.
You know what the problem is? You'll pick Jardier next week and he'll win as Mark Haynes goes up the inside of Martin Lawrence, and he'll take the position from the Mercedes. Samuel Ratz, who by the way has already done his mandatory pit stop, he's going to be interested in taking these places. Of course, he's already ahead of these guys theoretically come the end of the race, because they do still have to pit. And I do wonder now, with Samuel Ratz, where is he filtered into all of this? Has he stuck onto the podium potentially once all the pit stops had said and done?
Yeah, I think Gamil is going to be your second place, and I think Samuel Ratz is going to be your third. We have Vandervelde in pit in our chat right now.
He is absolutely having an excellent race down the hill against Martin Lorenk.
Yes, indeed. We have Vandervelde in our chat right now. He says that it's absolutely killed 90 seconds of damage on the pole-sitting car, the car that was leading at the time. 90 seconds of damage. That's pretty much your race over, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, 90 seconds of damage. I mean, around this place, that's almost an entire lap. And, well, by the time you factor coming in and out of the pit lane, it is an entire lap. And, well, my heart goes out to you, Tinker. I unfortunately had you down for a win today, so maybe you can blame me for that one. But, it's...
You picked Tinko, he crashed.
I did. Jesse Lee's given me the curse now. It used to be Jesse that... Every time he predicted someone.
No. You started this back in the winter, and you infected me with this. I was unaware this even existed, and now we're all just part of the same family. And as quickly as the world is working on a vaccine for other problems, they're not working on one for commentator's curse. So I probably won't be picking too many drivers in the future. This has been a crazy race, and Bart Macha here is doing everything he can to get by Stephen Wurst right now. There's going to be nose to tail, no quarter given, none asked, as they continue to battle here for what is sort of the 11th place spot at this time. Haven't talked much about these guys. They've been in the middle of the pack. They still are, but they are indeed in the middle of a fantastic fight at the moment. Samuel Ratz by the way, did indeed get by Mr. Martin Lawrence, and he is up to 6th place is Samuel Ratz, and he doesn't have to come in, as Ryan Gill said. I think he might be your 3rd place on the podium right now. But
don't you dare to change the subject about the picking the cars and all of them crashing. So, once again, think of Vandervelde. It was you, Ryan. It was you. And then it was Herbert Froschel. I'm sorry about his name. It was you, Jesse Lee, and I picked Ron Kavaka. He's also dead.
We're all guilty tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the thing. I don't remember that. That wouldn't hold up in court, and I am moving on.
Jesse,
your leader here at the 18-minute mark of this race. Tarek Gamil is in second place as we actually see a pass there as Bart Macha does indeed get around Stephen Worst at that particular venture. Worst had a bit of a moment there in the S's and gives up that position. So position gain for Bart Matcha up to 11th place. And of course he has pitted and he might actually have a shot at Mr. Barrier in front of him. As we go back to Samuel Ratz, who is up to 5th place. He's made the pass on the number 8 Bentley of Haynes now. He's a rocket ship, Ryan.
He did it. He did it on the chase. Very nice overtake from him. Mark Haynes went a bit too wide, and Samuel Ratz just took the opportunity. He did it very well.
I think for Mark Haynes as well, though, it doesn't make sense to fight Samuel Ratz. He knows that he's going to be behind the Lamborghini, you know, one way or another once pit stops start. And like Jesse said, that Lamborghini, it's flying here. I've said it before, it goes very, very well at Bathurst, and he's showing that here today. And of course, Samuel Ratz, we did just say, he goes about his business fairly quietly, but he does keep making his way up into the top 5 and occasionally the podium on a regular basis. He's just kind of, he's one of those drivers that, you know, it's kind of like Darren King. You said this about Darren King at Laguna Seca, I believe it was, Jesse, where he has a bit of a quiet race and then all of a sudden he's on the podium. And Samuel Ratz just seems to have, you know, a similar kind of style. He's not the flashy, super amazing overtake, you know, kind of driver, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, that is absolutely the thing about Darren King. I've raced with him several times, and it's I'll be up in the top 5 or whatnot, and Darren King's nowhere to be found. 5 minutes to the checkered flag, he's hounding me. He wants that slot. And that's Darren King in a nutshell. And that's sort of Samuel Ratz's MO as well, where he has a quiet race. He goes about his business in a very controlled manner most of the time. And at the end of the race, we're talking about him finishing on the podium, and everybody's left wondering, how? Where was he? And this is one of those things. He was 3 laps ago, guys. He was in 8th place. He's up to 5th. 3 of those passes that he's made, or excuse me, 2 of the 3 of the passes that he's made were based on him actually making passes. They were not people pitting. And that's Samuel Ratz in a nutshell. And that's also the Darren King comparison we're making.
I think Jardier is having problems with his tires. It's the second time I see him avoiding death at McPhillamy. I'm not sure if he's going to take tires, but if he's going to take tires, it's very likely that Samuel Ratz will be in front of him.
Yes, indeed. We're actually watching Vandervelde get all he can handle from Lubomir Zeman. These two, who wouldn't have been racing each other in any other circumstance, they both had issues here today, and they do find themselves racing for the position of 17th place, and that GTR is not getting out of the way of that R8.
No, he's
I think
not.
He's going to do overtake now.
Yeah,
They're
the
side by
Audi
side.
definitely going to have the pace coming inside, but I tell you what, the Nissan will carry it, and he's going to force Van der Velde on the outside, but ooh, Tinko Van der Velde, and he gets a little flash of the lights as well from Lubomir Zeman to say, well, mate, you know, I didn't like that too much, but I think it's just a bit of scrubbing paint there. I don't think there was too much in that.
Great overtake.
You heard that here from Mr. Random Call Sign. 100% clean, as voted on by Mr. Call Sign. I don't mind a little bit of rubbing. I think when you naturally impede the flow of the race, I think it's a different thing. Sometimes you're being a bit stubborn. In my opinion, right there, Zeman was being a bit stubborn, as is his right on the racetrack. He got a little bump, little tap, and they all go away fine. And you have no idea how much stress relief hitting that flash button actually is. It might as well be morphine or something. It is just the best thing for your blood pressure. So moving right along, we're going back to Bart Macha. Bart Macha here is trying, as I said earlier, could potentially get up to Barrier. He's done that in short order. He's right on the back of him. He's going to pull down to the inside as we go down through the chase here. We're going to see exactly how many ponies that Bentley has, as they're going to be side by side. Is there contact between these two? No, there is not. Clean pass made. Bart Macha up to the top 10 now.
Really love his livery. It invokes a bit of Gulf, the Gulf paint that you'd see on Fords. Great overtake there. Saw the opportunity, took it.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of debate at the moment going on about what's happening in regards, and Ismail Lebrec actually in chat, he's actually brought up an interesting point. Mikael Sundstrom could potentially get a podium here today, and this is an interesting point because Mikael Sundstrom got a podium at the multi-class GT race Silverstone last night on Thursday, and you know, that podium opportunity kind of came out of nowhere. It did come because of the fact that Ismail Lebrec had a disconnect. So it's a bit amusing for Ismail Lebrec to bring up the point, and I'm sure that he's going to hate the fact that I've just reminded him that happened last night. But don't worry, dude, I'm with you. Lamborghini gang, you know, we stick together. Bartmancher getting all sorts of out of shape now.
Oh, he's way out of shape here. Oh my goodness, that was very near a moment. He hit the grass, and it almost ended badly. Sorry to interrupt, Ryan. My heart rate went up.
Yeah, so as Brambilla comes into the pit lane, you know, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Could Sundstrom sneak onto the podium today, Jesse?
Yeah, he absolutely could. And talk about other drivers who have quiet races fighting for podiums. That is Sundstrom's MO. He's rarely ever, he's either way out in front of the field and we don't talk about him, or he's in a podium position and he's not doing anything wrong to get that position, or he's not artificially promoted in that position. So we don't really talk about that, but Sundstrom could indeed do it. We are going to find out. I think this is going to come down to a fight between Rats and Sundstrom here at the end. Might be even a straight up fight. They might have to battle it out on the racetrack. How interesting would that be? Jardier still out front, leading Tarek Gamil, who's about 7.5 seconds adrift. And then, of course, Sundstrom is about 11 seconds off of him. So nothing going on there. Our focus is between what will eventually be Sundstrom and Rats. It is worth noting that Rats has taken a full second this lap out of Brambilla's time. That's because Brambilla, I think, has come down pit road or something. Yes, indeed. It certainly looks like that. So Sammy Rat's been promoted to 4th place now. Sundstrom in 3rd. He still needs to pit, as does the entire top 3. As we're looking back at Dustin Worst, the other Worst brother in this race, looking back at his, well, brother in this case. This is a sibling rivalry. They both sim race. They both love it. And I imagine they enjoy racing each other the most since they know each other the best.
You could interview them.
I think I've interviewed Stephen Worst before. I don't think I've ever talked to Dustin. Together. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. We should do an editorial on that about the sibling rivalry. I'd like to ask him a very important.
On Wreckfest.
I'd love to do that, because I'd love to ask them which one of them do they think's better. As actually Stephen Worst goes into the wall there. He hits the BP ultimate wall. He ultimately hit the wall. So that's not going to help him. A lot of drivers getting way too close to the wall here. Oh, there's something very wrong with Stephen Worst's car now. See that thing wiggling off of every corner. That is not what you wanted to see, and that will separate the two, just like at the Thanksgiving table.
Oh, another little hit from Stephen Worst's car, and he is not enjoying that Porsche at the moment. He's definitely had damage on that car at some point before during the race, and ooh, you can actually see the tyre not doing so well there on that Porsche, and I would not be too surprised if he has damage on that car that needs to be repaired. Martin Lawrence behind. He's got damage still on his Mercedes. Doesn't look like it's been repaired either, so both of these guys carrying damage. In fact, you can see the bonnet of the Mercedes just a bit stuck up. A few dents in it as well. And,
it comes from factory. All new cars.
Oh,
Mercedes don't like that.
Oh dear, oh dear. What manufacturer does Random Callstein like?
I like Lexus. It's a good car.
All right, well, that's enough out of you for one day. Top 3 still have to pit in this race. I'm monitoring the gap between Sundstrom and Rats. It is steady at this time. They've done a full lap, and it's still holding at 36 seconds. No big change there. And really random Lexus.
Yeah. You know, the breaker for a car that I had, he's selling a Lexus RCF. And I'm like, should I really? In blue. It's pretty.
Do you know, I heard if you buy as Michael Sundstrom is coming into pit road right now, third in the race, the first of the top three to flinch. He comes in, he does not slam into a wall as so many others do. He will come in. We'll see how long.
Samuel Rats is coming now down the straight. Let's see where he's going to be. So Michael Sunstorm hasn't stopped. He stopped now. And Samuel Rats is going around the chase. This is actually super interesting to see how they're gonna be there.
It's gonna be very close.
Oh, it's gonna be close.
I think they're gonna be nose to tail, guys. We're following Samuel Rats.
Oh my god. Super close. T1, he's almost at T1, but he's not gonna have the speeds.
Michael Sundstrom will come out in front of Samuel Rats. Samuel Rats has the speed. They are going to close up on the straightaway. What will happen here? This is going to be a straight-up fight between the two of them. In my opinion, Rats has a little bit more pace, but yes, a clear victory there for Sundstrom. He does indeed get out in front of Samuel Rats, but this fight for third is not over, and more over for Rats. Important, don't throw it away now. You've done so well to this point. Don't throw it away now. Have a shot at third.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I really hope. No, you first, please.
I was just going to say, I mean, if you've just come out of the pit lane and the first car you've seen 2.7 seconds behind you is a Lamborghini around here, you know, you're not exactly feeling confident. Just under 7 minutes to go. This is on.
Absolutely. 6 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go. So we're talking about 4 laps. We still need to see where Tariq Kamil and Hansik are going to get out, because, you know, the pit entry is super weird. We've talked about that before. It's going to be just interesting to see how these two guys are going to manage it. And over the next 2 laps, I think it's going to be critical to consider the difference in pace. I'm almost destroyed my own voice there.
You guys remember this guy, Herbert Forshell? He qualified outside pole and took the lead on the first lap. Had a bit of a problem going over Skyline. We haven't talked much about him in the lone Honda out here today. He has rebounded up to 7th. He's looking a bit racy. You got Harry Conway right in front of him in that Dayglow Yellow Aston Martin. This could be good enough for 6th. I would say if he could get up into that sort of realm here of 6th place, that would be a very nice recovery. Wouldn't you agree, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely so. He dropped right to the back of the pack, had to go in and fix some damage. So if he can recover for a top 6 here, this is going to be an incredible performance from the likes of Herbert Froschel. Of course, he's the only Honda on the grid tonight. And the Honda does do particularly well here, but he does have to get past Harry Conway. And Harry Conway, someone who I've got quite a bit of experience racing against, he's not going to be too keen to let Froschel just go past him. And, well, if I know Harry Conway as well as I believe I do, even if someone gets past him, he's not going to let it go easily.
No, he is not. One other thing that I'm missing from this list, I do not know where Killian Ryan Meenan has gone. He's obviously not in this race anymore, and the reason that's important is that's huge championship implications. This is going to mean, if this stays for the final 5 minutes of this race in this configuration, that means that Jardier is going to be your points leader with 1 round to go, and he's not really going to have a whole lot of challengers behind him, I don't think.
Yeah, Jaroslav Honzik will be taking the lead of the championship, assuming nothing goes wrong. We saw him get a bit out of shape just before Tinko van der Velde found the wall. So, of course, I think Jardier at the moment probably pacing himself a bit more. 8.2 seconds to Tariq Kamil. They both have to serve a pit stop yet. But we have already discussed how tricky that pit entry is. But I think Jardier is going to start pacing himself. He knows he's got this win in the bag. He just needs to stay calm. Keep it cool, and he should be able to pull that car over the line. Having said that, looking right now at some of the gaps, Samuel Rats not closing in on Sundstrom. I think Sundstrom might well have that podium spot locked down. And also looking here at the gap between Froschel and Conway, Harry Conway starting to gap the Honda now.
That's very interesting indeed. Didn't really expect to see that. I thought it was going to go the other way. Speaking of going the other way, we got Martin Lawrence here, who is absolutely getting hounded by Macaulay. Macaulay, of course, has that 15-second penalty, so even though Macaulay gets around him, if he doesn't gap him by 15 seconds in the last 2 laps of this race, it won't really matter. So here you go. You got Lawrence, who's pulling over to the side, sort of letting Macaulay go. You see the damage on the front of Lawrence's car. Does not give him any sort of back talk, lets him go through, going through the chase, and as long as he can stay within 15 seconds, that pass is meaningless.
Let's see if Jardier is going to take the pit. And he is going to take the pits. Now, how about Tariq Kamil? It's going to be also interesting. I think it's basically the last chance. He's not taking the pit, so Tariq Kamil will be the provisional first position.
He will indeed once he comes across in and finishes the first sector of the race. Obviously, Jardier going this far into the race, you know, he won't be taking tyres. It's been a very hot track here today. A few people getting caught out by the track temps around here and how slippy it'll be, but I don't think anyone was taking tyres, and obviously no one would be taking tyres this late on in the race. It would be completely pointless, but Jardier will finish his pit stop. He's coming out right now, as you can see, just rejoining the track, and well, I would like to think that Tariq Kamil will be coming in at the end of this lap, I would imagine, but
yeah, he's either coming in or he's gifting Rats a podium spot is what's happening here.
I mean, as much as someone like myself, who's very fond of Lamborghinis, and Samuel Ratz as well, you know, I have a lot of respect for the Racing Line Motorsport driver. I would love to see Samuel Ratz on the podium, but I don't think Samuel Ratz would like to be given a podium through someone else not making a pit stop. So I'm pretty sure Tariq Kamil is going to be making his stop this lap, although yes, he will be making a stop this lap because he won't have enough time for another lap. So yeah, Tariq Kamil will be coming in at the end of this lap, so he'll be the final driver required to make that mandatory pit stop.
Yes, the final car, the final Sentinel out there that hasn't made their pit stop, just happens to be your leader. We've had a healthy amount of lead changes and passes today, and speak of the devil, we are not done with this. This is Pedrozzini now. Pedrozzini getting hounded by what is that? Is that going to be? Is that going to be Lawrence in front? That is Lawrence in front. Pedrozzini is hounding Lawrence for that position. Of course, that incredibly damaged Mercedes. Excuse me, my eyes failed me there. That incredibly damaged Mercedes. They're trying to get around him and get up the road a bit. And he will do just that. Pedrozzini goes around the outside. He will likely clear him up the hill. A lot of damage on that car, as they say. That is a lot of damage, but it's going to be damage there for Pedrozzini. Pedrozzini slamming the wall. We've seen that a few times. What happens here? Does he just go wide? Yes. Oh, yes, he does. He clips the wall before the opening, slams into it. And if I'm not very much mistaken, that let Lawrence back through. And indeed it did. He has that all to do again. Tariq Kamil has come in to do his pit stop now, and he will filter back out in second place. No harm, no foul. Jardier back out front. This is the last lap of the race. Last lap pass, so to speak. Adding to our lead changes, I think that brings us to 7 on the day. Not bad for an hour race.
Super eventful from the beginning. Few changes, forced changes from leader changes, very forced into the wall many times. A fair bit of content and incidents, but overall a very interesting race.
Yeah, so Jaroslav Honzik makes his way through Skyline and now down towards the Dipper. He will be looking to collect a win. He of course won at Laguna Seca to kick off the championship. And he'll be well-deserved of another win. He'll take the lead of the championship going into the season finale in 2 weeks' time at Suzuka. And of course, that's a track that Jardier definitely does enjoy as well. So he'll be up for that one. And like you said, Jesse, it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to take that championship off of him come the final round of the race. But of course, Jaroslav Honzik, he will not be too concerned about that. He comes through the chase. He'll come towards the final corner to finish the race for tonight. He survived the mountain. He's done everything he needed to do today. And he's picked up a well-deserved win here at Mount Panorama. Jaroslav Honzik crosses the line to win round 4 of the ICGT Sprint Championship. Tarek Gamil will pick up a very well-deserved second place. And would you believe it, Mikael Sundstrom, he's going to get back-to-back podiums, Thursday, Friday podiums, in 2 different cars, BMW on Thursday, Mercedes on Friday, and he picks up a very nice haul of points for himself.
Yes, indeed. Excellent stuff by all of our guys. You see Samuel Ratz in the background coming across the line. He'll have to be somewhat happy with that finish. 4th place could have been a podium perhaps, as Brambila comes home to finish out the top 5. Harry Conway, quiet race for Conway. Good points pickup, 6th place for him. Froschel right behind him. You see him parking immediately. Tough day, could have been a win, is going to end up 7th. Bart Macha, we saw him a good number of times this race. Contact, fighting through the pack, racing each other hard. He's going to be rewarded with an 8th position today. Fantastic stuff. Loved seeing him make passes. Another Bentley will finish right behind him. Mark Haynes is going to take the 9th spot in this race, and the 10th place is going to be a very interesting one. Look at him swerve. Macaulay, who has that 15-second penalty for causing a contact, he's going to come across the line in 10th place. Will he keep it? I don't think he will. I think Pedrazini is going to come across the line, pictured here, and I think Frank Pedrazini is actually going to take that 10th place off of him due to that time penalty, and indeed does. So it's going to be Pedrazini 10th. And actually, Vandervelde is going to come across the line as well and take 11th. Fairly decent recovery considering he was 90 seconds worth of repairs at one point. Macaulay has been demoted from 10th place back to 12th now. And of course, we got Martin Lawrence, who is back in 13th position, who hasn't crossed the line yet. Actually, he's not crossing the line. Stephen Wurst has actually got by him somehow on the last lap. Stephen Wurst is going to take home 13th. Lawrence 14th. Zeman 15th. Octane, the only car left not to finish, in 16th. Barrier, Varga, Boswell, Chatozzi, and Dustin Wurst in the 21st position. And those are your finishers. Crazy day today. Congratulations to Jardier, winner of the race, 2 in the championship, 2 of the 4, and retakes the championship lead. And we will see exactly what happens in 2 weeks. Final thoughts, guys.
We have 100% kill rate.
That is unfortunately true. And we're going to have to live with that. So I just did a bit of quick maths for you gentlemen to kind of set the mood for 2 weeks' time. And obviously my calculations are not exact because there are still bonus points for pole position and fastest lap to be taken into account. Of course I don't know all of the points exactly off the top of my head, but I reckon that with the 15-point gap that Tinko van der Velde had, plus the pole position points he will pick up today, I reckon coming into the final round of the championship, Jardier's only going to be about 13 or so points in front, which means
So you're saying there's a chance.
The title fight is still on for Tinko van der Velde despite a poor race today.
Are you saying that if we pick for next week, Jardier, there's a chance?
Oh dear.
You can interpret that any way you like, gentlemen, but I tell you what, if everyone here tonight has enjoyed the racing on offer, well, we have plenty more to come over the next few days. This weekend, in fact, we have the British GT3 Brands Hatch event. Yes, British GT3 cars, Aston Martin, Jaguar, McLaren, Bentley, all taking to Brands Hatch for a 75-minute race. Can you believe it? It's going to be ridiculous. That's going to happen on Sunday at around 7 BST, so 1900. and that's going to be so exciting to watch. On Monday, we have the return of the GT4 Championship. They're going to be at Misano, and that championship is so exciting. We've had actually, no, I was going to say we've had a different winner at every track. That was true until Spa last week, or this week rather, where Wolf Matuszka picked up a second win of the season, but it's been so close in the championship for the GT4s. It really is looking very tasty. We also have next Thursday, the multi-class GT series returns, and we're at Zolder for some multi-class racing, GT3s and GT4s taking to the track. We'll be here next week on RCI TV for the ICGT Sprint Champ Silver class at Bathurst. It's going to be interesting to see how those drivers get on. And then on Saturday next weekend, we're going to have probably the race I am the most excited about of all the ones I have mentioned so far. It's the Lamborghini Masters race at Kyalami.
There it is.
Lamborghini
Oh my God.
GT3 Evo and Lamborghini Super Trofeos taking to that track. And that is going to be a race that I am so looking forward to watching. But we also do have a 3 hours of the Nürburgring coming up fairly soon, and on the 17th of October, we're going to be running the 12 hours of Bathurst right here at Mount Panorama.
Yes, indeed. And if you thought that 1 hour we had 7 lead changes and that was a lot of action, 11 more hours totaling 12, that is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. I'm on that event. I'm going to do a little bit of everything in that event except driving. I'm going to leave that to the professionals, but my goodness, 12 hours of Bathurst. Can you believe it? I'm excited already.
Yeah, so thank you very much to everyone for joining us here tonight. Thank you very much to our stewarding team, who obviously had to deal with a bit of a mammoth incident during this race. Mega props to them for getting all those incidents looked at. It was actually fairly clean after... Well, we only had 2 penalties given out, didn't we? So, apart from the big accident, it's been a fairly clean evening here at Mount Panorama, at least for incidents involving multiple drivers, but... Yeah, so, mega props to the stewards tonight. They've done an amazing job. Thank you very much to everyone here for joining tonight. Your support is incredible, and like Jesse Lee said earlier on, do make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us out so much in this growth period that we're going through at the moment. And make sure you do stay tuned to the RCI Discord for all the new and up-to-date information on our leagues and events that we're going to be running, and I think an announcement about the next Friday Championship is coming in the next couple of weeks, so do keep your eyes peeled for that. So, from myself, Random Callsign, and Jesse Lee in the box here today, thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.